Today, I have a great recipe for you guys. It's actually a recipe that I used to eat years ago. And if anybody ever ate at Pizzeria Uno in the Northeast, New York City, that kind of thing, they're down there as well. But if anybody's ever had rattlesnake pasta, um, I used to love that dish. Absolutely love it. Ate it many years ago, went back, um, I don't know, probably 5 years after that, ordered it again, didn't do it for me. So I decided to do my own rattlesnake pasta. Now, this recipe is not going to be exactly the same because I am going to bump the hell out of this recipe, meaning it's just going to be more elegant, more creamy, more buttery, that type of thing. So uh, we get going with this recipe, and here are the ingredients. Over here, I have a half a pound of penne pasta. That's exactly what they used for their pasta as well. So, but I'm using a tricolored penne pasta. Over here, I have some Colby Jack shredded cheese that I actually shredded by hand. I prefer to do that instead of buying it in a bag already shredded up. Over here, we have some parmigiano reggiano. I know they use Parmesan cheese, so there's another bump up as far as flavor goes. Over here, I have 2 cups of whipping cream in this, but I'm probably going to use like a cup and a half. So there's whipping cream there. Here is a chicken breast that I basically julienned. Um, they used to cube their chicken. I think it'd probably look a little bit more elegant if they were like tiny strips. So there's another little bump up. Not too much though. Over here is the reason why they call it rattlesnake pasta is because it is a very spicy dish. If you're not into spices, you're not going to like it. But you could make this dish and you could just leave out the jalapenos. I have one very large jalapeno over here. Actually, I've never really seen a jalapeno that big. I picked them up at the market this morning. I de-seeded it, but I left the vein in. So you can see, or maybe you can't see, um, the white part. That's the vein. That's the hot part. It's not the seeds that are hot. It's not the pepper that it's hot. It's actually that white vein that runs down the center of the inside when you cut it open. So this is going to be a little bit spicy. Over here, I have some salt. I have some pepper, some ground black pepper. You can use white pepper on this too. Doesn't really make a difference. It's all your preference. Here I have a little bit of Italian seasoning, about a half a teaspoon. And here I have about 4 cloves of garlic that I chopped up prior to this. So here is your ingredients for this recipe, and let's get on with this rattlesnake pasta. I'm personally looking forward to it. I hope you guys make this because this is going to be fantastic. So let's get on with this recipe. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some butter to my pan. It's about 2 tablespoons. Not real high heat here. Just enough to maybe like a medium heat, I would say. Enough to get this butter melted. And then we're going to add in the chicken. After that, we're going to cook that. You can grill your chicken. You want to grill your chicken? You can absolutely grill your chicken. There's nothing wrong with that at all. All depends on how you like this dish. It's my job today to show you the ingredients. It's your job to make it how you want to, really, in the grand scheme of things. But this is, like I said, this is not identical to the rattlesnake pasta. It has all the ingredients in it, but I'm just bumping this up a little bit, basically, for like presentation, stuff like that. Okay, so the butter is melted. Like I said, not too high on the heat. Now, I don't know if I said to you guys about the chicken. Yeah, I did actually. I julienne the chicken, which basically it's like you're cutting matchsticks in a carrot. So this is kind of what you're looking at. That's what I mean by julienne. I think they'll look a little bit better once it's in the sauce. So we just have our chicken. We're just going to put the chicken right in. We're going to start cooking this down a little bit. This is about one chicken breast that I had kind of filleted. It was a little too thick on one end, so I cut it down a little bit on one end, and then I just cut cross grain. Very simple, very easy to do. All right, So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper. And this is just for tasting, so I'm not even going to let you know really what I'm adding. I'm just adding very little. Easy with the salt on this dish because you have 2 cheeses that are going in this. So you might want to just back off on the salt. I only put a pinch in. That's all I want. There's a little bit of Italian seasoning. We'll dump that in. And then we're going to chase this in a second with some garlic. So this is going to add nice flavor. You're doing it in butter, which, you know, who doesn't like butter, right? So I got 4 cloves of garlic here. 2 is for this, and then 2 is for the sauce. So I'm just going to put a little bit of garlic in here. Again, it's not high heat, so I'm not really worried about my garlic burning. You don't want your garlic burning. You don't want to give your chicken you know, any kind of like bitter taste, and that's exactly what it'll do. The chicken's only going to take just a couple of minutes here, so I'm probably not going to cut away. See, it's almost, look at it. See, it's not so bad. So we're going to just probably stick here until this is done. Maybe not. Maybe I'll cut away and get some wine, right? It's one of those days. And this is going to smell great when you guys cook this. If you make it, I urge you to make it, obviously. This is going to be fantastic. Especially if you've eaten it in Pizzeria Uno. If you like the Pizzeria Uno version of rattlesnake pasta, you'll love this. Should I edit that out? No, I'm going to leave that in there. I always love to hear how stupid I am when I do these recipes. Okay, so just another minute or 2 on this. You don't have to cook this like completely because this is going to cook in the sauce too. We're going to make a real killer Alfredo sauce with this. So this is what's going to coat everything. I know that the recipe, at least it seemed to me that they were using more like probably milk and half. I'm going straight heavy cream on this, so it's going to be very nice. It's going to be buttery. We're going to put butter in it. We're going to put garlic in it, a couple different cheeses. It's going to be fantastic. Okay. So again, almost cooked all the way through. You don't have to get crazy with it. Keep your eye on your heat because again, you don't want to burn that garlic. You don't want to give your food here a bad, bitter taste. That's no good for no one. Okay, so I'm going to cut away just for 1 second. I'm going to let this simmer up a little bit, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. So I'm back with you guys. This smells fantastic. The butter, the garlic, the chicken, everything smells great. And we're ready to pull this. Actually, we're going to kill the heat on this. I don't know if you guys can really make that out, but this is what we got. Now, remember that this pan, this is where I'm going to make the sauce. So you don't have to worry about cleaning this pan. You don't have to worry about getting another pan. So off camera right here, I just have another plate. We're just going to put the chicken on this plate. And then we're going to start making the sauce, drop some pasta. This is great served with like garlic bread, or I think they used to actually give you a breadstick, actually. But I'm not going to make breadsticks. I will make, I actually will make, not right now, but I will post a recipe for some real awesome garlic bread too. So maybe in another week or so, I'll post a recipe for that. Okay, so the chicken's done. We're just gonna keep this pan off heat, and we're gonna drop some pasta. So I am gonna start with the sauce. So we're gonna start it out exactly how we did the chicken. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of butter. I know it seems like a lot of butter. I get it, trust me. But this is gonna be, you need this for the richness of the dish. A little butter in here. And as soon as this melts, we're going to add some garlic. Same exact way that I started the chicken, pretty much. That's why I said that you guys can just use the same pan. This is simple. Everybody gets a little paranoid about using and making an Alfredo sauce type thing. Although the difference between the sauce for this and the Alfredo sauce is the Colby Jack cheese, and you'll see once it's plated. So about 2 tablespoons of butter. Now we're on to make the Alfredo sauce. So we're gonna let the butter melt a little bit, and then we're gonna take the other half of that garlic. So there's probably another 2 tablespoons, or maybe 2 cloves of garlic. I'm not sure what that's actually amounted down to, but no. So here's the important thing now. As soon as you start smelling the garlic, you don't want to go any further with this. It gets fragrant, 30 seconds or whatever, you're going to add your next ingredient in, which is going to be your heavy cream. So you're going to do your heavy cream, then you're going to put your cheeses in, then you're going to put your jalapenos in. You're going to let this reduce, and that's as simple as that. That's going to be your sauce. Now just remember, as soon as you smell the garlic, don't overburn this. A lot of garlic in this dish. You don't want that much garlic, don't put it in. Put like a clove in, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. Okay, so I can start smelling the garlic, so we're going to continue from here. Like I said in the beginning, this is 2 cups in a measuring cup, but I'm going to put a half a cup in, or a cup and a half in, just to see exactly what this is going to be all about. I've made this many times before, but sometimes the consistency varies a little bit. Depends on what kind of cream you use, what kind of butter you use, all that type of thing. So we're going to get this rolling. And I can actually tell right now that I'm going to need a little bit more cream. So I am going to use 2 cups of cream for this. And this is going to be enough for 2 people. So it's going to be 8 ounces of pasta that I'm dropping. So you want to get this up to like a simmer, like blah, 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 not like, crazy bubbling, but just like a minor bubble. That's where we're going with this. I'm not going to season it yet. I'm not going to do a salt and pepper thing on it quite yet until I get the cheeses in, because that parmigiano reggiano is very salty. So we're going to wait a couple of minutes, and we're going to see what happens with this. Well, I already know what's going to happen with it, but always taste as you go along as well. That's important. So I'm back with you guys. See, now it's kind of bubbling up a little bit. This is what you want. You want to get this hot when you put the cheese in, because if you don't, it's too cool, sometimes the cheese will just become like very stringy. Okay, so right now we're doing 2 things. We're reducing this, and we're also going to thicken this up with the cheese, the 2 cheeses. So you start out with maybe a cup of parmigiano reggiano, right? You sprinkle it around just like this. In little areas, don't put it all in at once. Just make sure make sure you get it in there at the same time, right? And all you want to do is you just want to get this to melt. And as you whisk it a little bit, then you can put more in. So I am going to add more to this, because this, I got about maybe, a cup and a half of cheese here. Just make sure your sauce is good and hot, because like I said, if you don't, sometimes the Parmesan has a tendency of getting stringy. It gets kind of lumpy, and you really don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit more, not much there. So it's probably, I don't know, maybe a cup and a quarter for this. 2 cups of cream, cup and a quarter. A lot of times I don't measure, just because I've made this and done this so many times. But okay, so always clean the side of your pan. You don't want that burning. That'll give your food kind of a nasty taste. Okay, so the cheese is in, just like that. And now it's basically, we're going to let this reduce, but just prior to doing that, now we're just going to lower the heat on it. We do want this. We want this bubbling. Now we're going to just add in the Colby cheese. And this is what's different from an Alfredo sauce to a rattlesnake pasta sauce. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that, right? Shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't be too complicated, but you know, given me, it's complicated. So we're just gonna stir. We're just gonna. It's almost like you're making like a macaroni and cheese sauce, basically. So you can see it turns a little bit yellow. So we're just gonna add a little bit more, little by little. Don't rush this because you know you want this to melt at the same time. So as soon as it becomes all melted, then you can add a little bit more cheese in. So this was about, I don't know, like this was probably like 10 ounces, 8 to 10 ounces, probably more like 9. So I'm going to use all this because I kind of go full bore when I cook recipes and do things. And then once this is all melted, I'm just going to turn this down to a simmer because I don't want it to reduce too much, because if you reduce it too much, then it gets kind of pasty. I mean, you could reduce this down to almost nothing. So the consistency that you're looking for is how you want it on your pasta. That's the way that's what I always say. But you can see it's thickening up now. So let's scrape the pan one more time, and we will just let this. And you can always tell when it's reducing because you'll see the bottom of the pan come through the sauce, and it is starting to come through the sauce. So we're just gonna let this go about a medium heat. All right, so that's it. That is your sauce. I'm gonna taste this, and we're gonna go from there. But before I do that, here you go. Here's your spice. We're gonna put these in, and you can eye this, right? If you think that that's like too much, personally me, that's what we're going to do. We're going to throw it all in because I can never get, excuse me about that, I can never get enough spicy stuff. So we're going to let these soften up with the sauce so the jalapenos will cook in the sauce. And that, guys, is your rattlesnake pasta sauce. I actually said it after 3 times of screwing it up. All right, so we're going to just let this reduce a little bit more, and then we're going to kill the heat on it. I'm going to drop the pasta. I'll be right back with you guys. All right, so I have my pasta water boiling. I'm just going to put a little bit of salt in it, and I'm just going to drop some tri-colored penne, and this is going to take probably somewhere around 12 minutes. I'm going to cook this probably a minute less, so probably about 11 minutes, and then what I'll do is when this is done, we're ready to plate. So in about 10 minutes, 11 minutes, I'll be back with you guys, and I'll show you how to finish this meal up. All right, so this is almost done. The sauce is looking very good, very, very, very good. The only thing I did over here was I put the chicken in here while I was away. So that's the only thing I did. The only other thing that happened here was I just let this reduce. And it did reduce indeed. So you could see almost like how the consistency of it, right? I don't know how much you can see there, but you can see it's very, very cheesy. It's very buttery. It's really spicy too. Now I do think that this is going to need just a pinch, not much, just a pinch of okay, so that means our pasta's done. A little bit of black pepper, not killing this because this is coming out exactly how it should be coming out. This is a fantastic sauce. I really hope you guys make this. So basically I just have a little bit of heat on this, medium to low actually. So I'm just going to try my pasta here. I want to cook this just a little bit less than al dente because it's going to cook just a little bit in there. So let's see how this is. Yeah, that's very good. Okay, so we're going to kill the heat on the pasta, and we're going to turn our attention right over here because this is regardless of what this recipe is, I mean, really pasta's pasta, but this here is the star of the show. So Again, medium heat on this at this point. You already have it reduced to where you want it, so you don't really have to do anything. So we're just going to drain. I just have a spider here, basically, and we're just going to add the pasta to it. If you can smell what this smells like with the garlic, the butter, the chicken, the seasonings that are in here, the jalapenos, obviously. It's fantastic. Can't wait to eat this. I love this meal. And I'm the kind of person that if I see something in a restaurant and I really, really like it, and I go back and they change the recipe, you know, like us Italians say, futtida, make it yourself. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making it myself. Oh, good Lord, look at this. All right, so this is just gonna sit in here. Now you can reduce this a little bit more if you want to at this point. It's totally up to you. If you want to, it all depends on how creamy. When I say reduce, that's what I'm talking about. How liquidy do you actually want this meal? So you can add heat to it at this point again. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You just get it to the right consistency on how you want to eat this. So this is basically your rattlesnake pasta is done. So I'm just gonna keep this here for just a couple of minutes, and I'm just gonna reduce this just a tiny bit more, another three minutes, and I'm gonna take this over and plate it. So that's where we're at. We're gonna show you how I plate this, which not really a big deal, but for video purposes, we'll do that. And I will be right back with you guys, and it's almost lunchtime for me. Right, guys, so here it is. Here is the rattlesnake pasta. We're gonna plate this up here. Chicken, pasta, cream, butter, jalapenos, very spicy. Again, leave the jalapenos out if you don't want to, but that's kind of like the whole idea of this dish. Is to, all right, so that's how we're, okay, so that's how we're plating this meal. The only thing else I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna top it with just a little parmigiano or reggiano, and I'm gonna top it off with just a little bit of parsley, just like that. If you can't tell how much I love cooking, right? Okay, so I love preparing all kinds of meals. I have a ton of them. I'll clean the plate up there. And this is my rattlesnake pasta, a spin-off of Pizzeria Uno. I urge you guys to make this if you're a pasta lover. I obviously am. I'm going to do a lot of pasta dishes for you guys. But here you go. Try this out for size. All right, guys. Like and subscribe if you want to. I'd appreciate it. I appreciate a thumbs up, comments. If you guys got any questions about the recipe itself, you can message me if you'd like to, and I will see you in the next recipe. I post a recipe every single week. My channel's new, so it's going to take a long time for it to get off the ground. I do understand that, but new recipe every week, and I will see you in my next recipe. Okay, guys, have a great day.